you're a Cook Islander, you're expected to wear a hat in church. Sometimes loaned, because maybe you're in a situation where you don't own one, but someone wants you to come to church and you'll be asked to wear one. The church hats for the Cook Islands women started way back in the Cook Islands and other Pacific Islands, where the missionary wives encouraged women to make hats using their traditional skills. It's not a foreign concept to Pacific people to adorn their heads, very, very common, leaves and flowers. Your head is kind of a sacred part of your body. It's almost a halo effect, that you get wearing these hats. The material culture that we have from our Cook Island people, weaving, sewing, te vai, there's a real emphasis on making really fine work. When people migrated to New Zealand, Aotearoa, from the Pacific, they brought with them their skills, but they were not really the materials to make the hats in the way that they were made in the Pacific. So they actually created like this fashion almost, using ribbon, florist ribbon and gift wrapping ribbon, between 1980s and 1990s, 2000s. More recently, everyone's gone back to working with natural materials, so the rito hat is the most revered hat today. Initially, because the exhibition had only my grandmother's collection of hats, I really wanted to extend that opportunity to other people in the community. These hats are a symbol of our matriarchs, our mamas, who hold our culture together.
I treasure this because my ancestors, my grandmother, my mom, pass on to us that this is what we wear to church every Sunday. Without the hat, we cannot get into the worship house of the Lord. This is our culture.
My first initial thoughts were to ask Amelia. I wanted to reach out to her, because our grandparents were great friends and neighbours.
When Ani asked me, I took it as a blessing that's my mama and dada calling on me out of my Puya tribe family to carry on what they had. Ani and I were neighbours when I was with my mum. Our times were spent at Anglesea. Our mamas were best friends. Mama Peru, who lived down the road, and my mama, Mama Koi, mamas were together. They were literally joined at the hip.
Forever ringing each other, even though they were 2 doors away.
That was the only time I would hear my mama talking in the Cook Island Ville. You could always guarantee those mamas were never too far away from each other. It's been a beautiful opportunity to show mama in her hats and what Mama Koi meant to the wider community, and remind them, especially all the new people here in Ponsonby, so that they get a taste of what the old Ponsonby used to look like.
40s, my grandparents moved from Taonga to Auckland, and they found it quite a challenge. Yeah, not just the cold, but just the language, the culture, having to find a home. My grandmother used to say how bad the facilities were, how run down the houses were. They had to fix up the house that they finally bought in Anglesey Street. Everything was very, very poor in those days. Wages were terrible. The jobs were challenging. My grandfather got a job in the railway and my mama was working in factory sewing. She actually developed asthma because of the dust in those factories. The Cook Island people weren't affected directly through dawn raids because we're considered New Zealanders with passports. But there are some stories, horrible stories of living in Ponsonby where it was pretty rough. Smacked in school for speaking the reo. There's this sort of put away, your culture, put away who you are back in the islands because it's not going to get you anywhere. We're part of an immigration culture that have helped shape this place.
Remember our mamas?
Yes, to come up all the time. Nice.
I used to come up and get a tin of coconut cream every now and then for mama.
Yeah, you did. And the biscuit.
And biscuits.
Come back and stand outside your old house and tell your grandchildren, this is where we used to live.
This is the spot too where our mamas used to sit on the fence and have a good chat. It just reminds me of like when they used to get dressed up and go to church and be wearing all their beautiful clothes and their A's, and then they'd wait for the taxi sometimes over here.
PIC Newton Church, they were founding members, my grandparents, and so my mama, her history and her fellowship with that church go way back. And that is where a lot of Pacific Islanders found the community, support, a place where they could be themselves and celebrate and praise God and for everything that they were given. They were never complainers.
The PIC Newton Church is important because it's our place of belonging. Just like our Māori culture, we have the marae and we have our tūranga waiwai. Being able to walk into PIC Newton, the first thing I'm going to look for is the Cook Island hats. You can see the different weaving and the different styles and the different materials that they use. If you want to experience our culture, just go sit next to a mama with that hat. Cook Island hats are significant to me because it's my passport. People can identify you straight away by having one. I don't own my own one, just as significant as a pounamu. You can't purchase a pounamu for yourself, and I don't feel comfortable going out to buy my own church hat, but hopefully through me working on my culture, learning more about who I am, I might be able to get one from somebody, hint hint.
There's a few things that I would like people who see this exhibition to learn or feel. The warmth of the people who come from this community, the determination and the faith that they have. We still hold on to where we come from. It's not a tourism ad. This is kind of like a genuine, heartfelt opportunity for people to feel the beauty of who we are.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.